If you're new to the podcast community and you want to start a new podcast and you're looking for a platform that is user friendly, that has everything you need at your fingertips, that won't set any limits, that you can earn money, then I would recommend Anchor. Now, Anchor can be used basically anywhere. You could be in your car, you can be laying on the sofa in bed where you can edit, record, and upload. You can throw in soundtracks. Everything is there for you. Now, I use it because, it's user friendly and it is free, and I find it really easy to navigate without it being very confusing. Now, most platforms, before you can even try it out, you need to sign up and pick a plan. I like Anchor because I don't have to go through any of that. So I recommend it. Now, if you really want to get into it, I recommend you going to your website, anchor.fm, and signing up, or you can download anchor.fm from the Google Store, iTunes, and give it a try. So don't forget to go to anchor.fm, sign up, and I'll see you all in the podcast community. Howdy folks, it's Denise, your homegirl from Paranormal BuzzFeed. Now, you may hear some noise in the background. I do apologize. I'm on lunch and my neighbors here are working and they're making a ruckus. So, again, I apologize. So, bear with me in this. So, tonight's episode, or today's episode, depends on wherever you hear it, whenever you hear it, is going to be on a very hot topic back in the day. It was a controversial topic. It had UFO enthusiasts up in arms, oh, the UFOs are here. And then it had other people saying, no, the military was doing testing with, with jets and stuff and formations and so on. And if you haven't guessed what I'm talking about, I am talking about the Phoenix Lights. Now, if you don't know what happened or what the Phoenix Lights are, it was a series of widely sighted UFOs. And I'm using UFOs in air quotes, so if you can picture that, it's UFOs in air quotes. Seen in the skies over Arizona, Nevada, and then the Mexican state of Sonora. So let's start with the timeline. So this event took place March 13th, 1997, between, I'm going to use Pacific time because it's just easier for me because I live in the Pacific Coast, between 7:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. And it states that thousands of people, and I mean thousands in air quotes, saw lights in the space of 300 miles. So that would bring it from the Nevada state line through Phoenix and then to the edge of Tucson. Now, two things happened. The triangle formation of the lights that passed over the state, and then a stationary series of lights that were seen in the Phoenix area. Witnesses also claimed to have seen a large square-shaped UFO that had 5 lights. So the first call came in at 6:55 p.m. It was reported seeing a V-shaped object above Henderson, Nevada. The gentleman stated that it was the size of a Boeing 747, and it sounded like rushing wind. And then it had 6 lights on the edge, and it moved from northwest to southeast. The second report came in from Arizona, and it was seen at 7:15 p.m. and it was a gentleman driving north when he saw a cluster of lights in the sky, and the cluster was comprised of 4 lights together with a 5th one trailing it. And according to the policeman, the individual lights formed what to appear be separated by some red or orange lights amongst the white lights. Now we jump over to Prescott and Prescott Valley. Now the lights that were seen over Prescott Valley were around 8:17. The callers there were calling in and telling, I guess, 911 that the object had literally blocked out so much of the night sky. Now, in my opinion, that's one big ass UFO. I mean, okay, granted, I don't know how big a UFO is, but if it's going to block out a certain amount of space, that's huge. That's like really, really huge. And the night sky is really, 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 really huge. So that was another incident that happened in Prescott Valley. Now, John Kaiser and his family noticed a cluster of lights to the northwest of where they lived. The lights, according to him, formed a triangle shape, and all appeared to be red except for the one in front, which appeared to be white. Now the other lights appear to be red, or appear to be white with red. So, there's variations. And lasted anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, and were seen to bank right and then disappear to the southwest of Prescott Valley. This little town of Dewey, 10 miles east of Prescott, had 6 people who saw the large cluster of lights northbound on Highway 69. So you got to wonder, with all of these sightings on this particular night, could it be military? Could the military be out nearby doing its testing or doing, it's some experiment with the jets or whatever the case may be? So you have to kind of wonder what the military is doing. I would. And then I would wonder if there's any military bases nearby. So before the incident occurred, people at the Naval Hood Reservation were already seeing things in the sky. But they really didn't pay any attention to it. So it's like they kind of like brushed it off, because you figure you're on a base, and you have to know that they're doing experiments or they're testing jets or stuff like that. So you figure, okay, now we're doing stuff. Now people have claimed that they saw these crafts at lower altitudes gliding slowly. Some say that they took off with tremendous speed, over a mile, maybe 2 miles. Some say that they, some said they had this feeling of peace come over them as these objects were flying by. Um, Nobody said it was fear-based. Nobody said it was, like terror. It was just a very peaceful, calming effect. While others say they received a message stating, "Don't worry, we are not here to hurt you." Well, shit. If you're here to, if you're even flying that low and you're not here to scare us and hurt us, okay, but what's the reason for you to fly that low? You can see us from all the way out there. I don't know. I find that a bit odd. Now, according to some skeptics, we gotta love the skeptics, because if we don't have skeptics, well, we don't have an interesting story. Some say that there's a logical explanation to all of this. Now, remember when I said military and then there's a base? Okay, so this is where the skeptics say that there's a logical reason to it. Some say that it's part of Operation Snowbird, which, from my research, was a pilot training program by the Air National Guard out of Davis Air Force Base in Tucson. Now, according to them, according to the skeptics, what people saw were flying A's could have been the A-10 jets. Now, it is said that they flew under visual flight rules, which I will, according to my research and according to the article I looked up, visual flight rules is supposed to mean no need to check in with airports along their route. Don't know if it's true. Don't know if it's false. So, again, I'm just stating what was said. While the formation was made, these jets in particular, again, don't know if it's true, don't know if it's not, don't have blinking lights. Their lights are more like landing lights. The A-10s, now according to the base, the A-10s flew over Tucson and landed at Davis about 8:45 p.m. So that could mean that these A-10 jets were part of the whole 3 states, up in arms, driving all this chaos. But then again, you have to stop and think about it. How far can a jet go on fuel? Where, depending on how fast they're traveling. Some witnesses stated that the jets were traveling fast because it was making this whooshing noise. So how much fuel does that jet take? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not in the military. Some people say that they were pretty big, as like a Boeing 747. Again, I don't know how big these jets are. I don't understand if the UFOs, the lights were in the formation, were as big as Boeing 747. I believe the jets are smaller, more compact. But again, I could be wrong. Don't shoot the messenger. Um, but of all of this, what do you think the Phoenix Lights are? What do you think they are? Do you think it's coming from the base in Tucson? Do you think are the 810 jets from Tucson? Do you think that the 810 jets were the ones that were practicing formations? Were they dropping flares as to show that the lights were disappearing in the background? No one really knows because there's really no one that would know about this. If it was government related, they're not going to tell you. That's how the government is. If you're aliens, unless you're abducted by an alien, you wouldn't know. So, how do you know what it truly was without any evidence, any proof? That's the hard part. To me, the Phoenix Lights could be a 50-50. It could have been that over certain areas there was a UFO in a triangle shape. Could have been. You know, look at it logically, yeah, certain areas could have had a UFO. But then again, in another area, it could have been the military just experimenting with their jets, which to me sounds plausible. If you're going to do, let's see, some night experiments, then yeah, I can see where, popping up and causing all this chaos, making people believe that it was just an experiment, would have a few people be like, But then again, it's just too many people seeing a variation of something. Now, I would say it was a UFO if there was consistency. Thousands of people saw a large triangle shape that blocked out the night sky, that had 5 white lights, like 4 white lights and 1 fifth light in the back. Now, if everybody saw that with no deviation from that, then okay, I would say possibly UFO. But then you have people who are saying that they saw 4 orange lights with 1 white light, or they saw variations of that orange and white combo together. That, there's not a whole census on that. Only a few people saw that. So that makes me believe that maybe that event was military. Again, don't shoot the messenger. It's just my opinion. So it's kind of hard to say the Phoenix Lights were all UFO based, because I honestly don't believe it's all UFO based. I know UFO enthusiasts want this to be 100% UFO, but I just feel like it's not 100% UFO. I think part of it has to do with the military. And we all know that the military doesn't talk, doesn't speak. They like to keep things under a very tight wrap. And we're never going to know what it was. The only way we're going to find out is if it is military, or it was military. Anybody that was present at the time speaks out. But then again, if they speak out, what are the possibilities that people will believe them? Very slim. They'll be called a nutcase, nut job. I honestly believe that the large triangle shape was a UFO, but the rest of the sightings, was military. My opinion, like I said, it's my opinion. But I don't think, for me to believe this 100%, that the Phoenix Light 100% across the board were UFOs, everybody that saw those lights in those 3 states would have to have seen the same thing. And from what I read and what the videos I saw on YouTube, I don't see that. I don't see that across the board at all. I see thousands of people calling about the triangle shape, but then everybody else that called in about orange lights with white light, or white lights with an orange light, and stuff like that. So I don't believe that the Phoenix Lights were 100% UFO based. I don't. I'm going to have to go 50-50. I'm going to say 50% probably was UFO, and, little ET came back and wanted to say, hello, how are you? I'm here. Don't forget, I'm watching you. And then the rest were out of the base that was the base there, Davis, in Tucson. That's what I'm saying. We're all entitled to our opinions, and that's wonderful. That's what we have here, is to have your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, your belief. But I am curious as to know, what do you think? What do you think the Phoenix Lights were? Were they military based? Were they UFO based? Many people believe it's military based, but the skeptics, which are hundreds out there, thousands, don't believe in UFOs, and will say, hey, all these people saw this. You're near a base in Tucson. It's not a UFO. It's just the military doing their experiments, their nightly experiments. And people will probably agree with that, and people won't, and people will up in arms. But back at that time, a lot of people stated that was the UFO. That the lights of the Phoenix were UFOs that were coming down. Now, according to some, Phoenix area is a hotbed for UFO sightings. Is it true? Don't know. Is it false? Don't know. But I can say UFOs are a hotbed over Rowland Heights, California, where you can look into the east and you can see clearly objects flying, appearing and disappearing. Satellites? No. They don't look like satellites to me. But there are a lot of videos out on YouTube regarding the Rowland Heights lights. So, you can... It can go either way, in my opinion. But I'm sticking to my 50% UFO base and then 50% military base is what I'm sticking with. And many people will be like, oh, you're crazy, it's all UFO. Okay, well, if you believe it was a UFO base, then so be it. It was UFO based. If you believe it's 100% military, then go for it. Believe it's 100% military. But everybody is entitled to what they believe. And I, at this precise moment, believe it is a 50-50. 50% UFO, 50% military. And unless there is hardcore evidence from the military saying, this is what we did, this is what we conducted, these are the results from this, it was weather balloons or whatever the hell the military would say, then I change my mind. But as of right now, as of today, I believe that the Phoenix Lights were 50% UFO and 50% military. Now, if you want to convince me otherwise, by all means, you're more than welcome to convince me. I'm not here to prove to you. I'm not here to make you see my point of view. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm not here to analyze, criticize. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm just here to tell you about the Phoenix Lights and what I believe. What you believe is what you believe, and what I believe is what I believe. And I believe that the Phoenix Lights were 50% alien and 50% UFO. So go ahead and drop me a line, like, subscribe, share this podcast. The more you share, the more it helps with my new podcast, and I want to get it out there as much as possible. So please do share your podcast. If you like the episode, give it a like, a click on the star review if you're on Apple Podcast. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, you can also donate to Anchor, to my Anchor account. You know, it helps me buy better equipment. It'll help me buy some stuff that will make my podcast better. So don't forget, let me know what you believe of the Phoenix Lights down below. And don't forget, you got to keep it ghosting. We all ghosting. Next episode will be on Thursday. And that topic will be an interesting topic. So stay tuned for Thursday. Don't forget to keep it ghosting. And I will see you all later. Bye.